Should I have a mini facelift? This is something that I hear often. You like the idea of having a little bit of a lift, but the concept of a full facelift feels a little bit scary, so a mini facelift seems quite appealing. Less cutting, less downtime, and it will give you just the amount of lift that you feel you need. Right? Wrong. And I want to explain to you why that is. People come to me and tell me that they think they need a mini facelift. What they always do is put their 2 fingers in front of their ears and say, look, this is what I need. I just need this amount of lift. When you do this with your fingers and you retract the tissue, you put tension on the skin. And if you do that with a mini facelift, you cut the skin and you pull it tighter, it will look like this in the short term, but actually that tension will soon give way, and because you've not repositioned any of the underlying tissues, it just goes back to the way it was before. Except you've now got some scars and probably some odd contour lines around the side of your face because of the tension that was placed there. In order to achieve the amount of lift that you see when you do this in the mirror, you need to redrape all of the underlying tissues. Unless you do that, and unless you do it properly by going fully into the face, you tend to end up getting a result that's pretty short-lived. When the swelling settles, it usually leaves you with some contours in your face that look pretty unnatural, which is usually the reason that you wanted to avoid having the full facelift in the first place, because you wanted to look more natural. But actually, to get the more natural result, you actually have to be a little bit more invasive with what you do. We have never done mini facelifts in our practice. We have always done what's known as a smash flap facelift, where we lift the skin, we then lift the smash or the muscle layer of the face separately and place the tension onto the deeper muscle layer. And actually, as the years have gone by and we've had more and more experience, we are now doing more and more of that rather than less and less of that, because we can see that actually by lifting the smash further and wider and redraping more extensively, we not only get results that are more effective, but they last longer and they look more natural. Some surgeons will do a procedure called a smash plication, which they will refer to as a smash facelift, but all they really do then is elevate the skin and put a couple of stitches into the underlying muscle layer without really redraping it. To get a true repositioning and redraping of the tissues in the face, especially around the lower face and neck, you really need to lift that smash layer as a separate flap of tissue. As the years have gone by, we lift that more and more widely. We find that by doing that greater degree of dissection and going further under the smash, we just get a much more effective repositioning of the tissues. If you try and put too much tension just on the sides and periphery of the face, as that heals and settles over the months and years, it can start to look less natural. Whereas if you really go under the smash and you go quite wide under the smash, you can much more effectively reposition the tissues so that the shape of the face looks much more natural after the surgery. A mini facelift may well seem superficially very appealing, but actually over time, the results are pretty short-lived and don't look very natural. So if you want to have a result that is going to last and look natural, then somewhat counterintuitively, you actually need to do more invasive surgery. And if you feel as though, actually I don't want to go down the route of doing the more invasive facelift option, then rather than wasting time, effort and money on a mini facelift, I would suggest you are better looking at other non-surgical modalities, things like lasers, fillers, injectables. These things are going to give you improvement. They're not going to give you as much improvement as a facelift would, but don't fall into that marketing trap of that mini facelift. It sounds appealing, but I promise you further down the line, it's not so appealing. Any questions or suggestions for future content, please pop them in the comment section, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.